The Myrtles plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana has long been called one of America's most haunted homes. With over 2 centuries of documented tragedies, mysterious deaths, and unexplained sightings, many believe the spirits here simply refuse to leave. Tonight, I traveled to the plantation to investigate the claims, record real activity, and uncover the truth behind the hauntings. As I arrived during sunset, the property looked frozen in time. Spanish moss draped over ancient oaks, the old wooden porch creaked with each shift of wind, and the house itself seemed to watch me approach. My tour guide, Evelyn, a soft-spoken woman in her 50s, stepped out with tired eyes. "You're here to document the hauntings?" she asked. "Just know some things here don't like being seen." Inside the home, Evelyn walked me through the documented tragedies. The most famous involves William Winter, who was shot on the porch in 1871. According to verified accounts, he staggered inside, climbed the stairs, and collapsed on the 17th step. Visitors and staff still report hearing footsteps stopping on that very step late at night. We moved to the parlor mirror, a disturbing artifact tied to the plantation's most repeated legend. The mirror is said to hold the spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her children, victims of poisoning, according to old plantation lore. Historians dispute parts of the story, but the mirror itself has a documented history of strange phenomena: fingerprints that appear inside the glass, smudges that cannot be cleaned, and faces that guests swear show up in their photos. As I leaned close, a cold wave swept over me. Something smeared across the inside of the mirror, slowly, deliberately, like a fingertip dragging downward. I stepped back, and Evelyn whispered that this had happened before. At 9:30 p.m., I set up camera equipment along the main hallway facing the staircase. The house felt unnervingly still. At 10:03 p.m., a sudden thump shook the banister. At 10:04 p.m., the footsteps began. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. The footsteps climbed until they reached the 17th step and stopped. A shadow figure appeared on the landing, tall, human-shaped, but dissolved into the wall within seconds. Later in the night, Evelyn showed me the child activity room where staff claimed unexplained disturbances occur. She lifted a bedsheet to reveal small child-sized footprints burned into the fabric. "Not dyed. Not printed. Burned. We replaced them," she said softly. "They always come back." Before ending the night, Evelyn warned me about wandering alone outside. She spoke of Chloe, an enslaved woman whose legend blends truth and myth. Whether real or folklore, countless visitors claim to see a woman in a green headscarf watching the house from the courtyard. As I packed up equipment, I saw a silhouette on the porch, slim, wearing what looked like a headscarf. She didn't move. She didn't blink. She just stared. And then she vanished the moment I blinked. At 3:17 a.m., my hallway camera activated on its own. The temperature reading had dropped from 72 degrees to 52 degrees in under 10 seconds. On the staircase feed, a transparent figure appeared, faint but visible, standing on the landing, swaying as if trying to keep balance. Then the footsteps started again. But this time they were going upward, higher than the famous 17th step. Staff claimed that never happens. The door to the children's room, secured earlier with a metal slide lock, clicked open by itself. Evelyn rushed toward me, fear in her face. "That room stays locked. Nothing good comes out of that room." Inside, toys had arranged themselves in a perfect circle. A music box on the bed began playing a slow, winding melody. When Evelyn closed the lid, the music kept playing. We backed out. We returned to the parlor mirror, determined to capture solid evidence. I whispered toward the glass. "If anyone is here, can you show us?" A breath fogged the inside of the mirror. Then fingerprints, tiny at first, then larger, dragged downward as if someone inside the glass was sinking. The camera glitched for 3 seconds before returning to normal. Outside in the courtyard, the air felt warmer, calm, peaceful, until Evelyn froze and pointed. A woman stood under the oak tree, green headscarf, empty eyes, perfectly still. I raised my camera. She slowly lifted her hand and pointed directly at me. A gust of wind tore through the courtyard, and her figure dissolved into smoke. Back inside, the footsteps returned, but this time there were many. Heavy boots, child steps, bare feet, dozens of unseen figures walking through the halls, through the rooms, through us. "They're awake," Evelyn whispered. "All of them." When I retrieved my main camera, a message had been scratched deeply into the plastic casing. "Don't leave." At sunrise, we stepped outside, exhausted. As we reached the final step, a loud crash echoed from within the house. Evelyn didn't need to count. "That was the 17th step," she whispered. "It only makes that sound when someone falls on it." But no one was inside. No one living. As I drove away, one truth stayed with me. At Myrtles Plantation, the dead truly don't check out. They watch. They wait. And they are never alone.